To benchmark a homomorphic encryption implementation, it must be contained in an HEBench backend. Once ported, running the benchmark is very simple. Your main tool for running the test will be the test harness application. This application is included with the HEBench frontend and has a long list of options to aid users in testing their backends. However, we'll only be focusing on a small subset of these options. To benchmark any backend, all test harness needs is the path to that backend. For example, if we wanted to benchmark one of the two provided reference backends, simply let test harness know where that backend is and execute. Test harness will first output information like the HEBench versions being used, benchmark configuration details, the backend library being run, and the number of benchmarks that will be run, among other things. From there, test harness will run the backend's implementation of each workload that it supports. You'll see a single output block per workload implementation. Inside, test harness will log the workload and parameter configuration for this particular run, the steps in the pipeline that it ran and benchmarked, and the test completion status. Upon finishing all of the backend's workload runs, test harness will gather a list of the workloads that were benchmarked. The list will contain the file paths to the output reports that were generated for each individual run. This path is fully configurable by the user using the output directory option. Finally, test harness will generate an overview of the entire run, showing the average wall and CPU times of the main event being benchmarked for each workload, as well as the summary of benchmarks that passed or failed validation. Another useful option is configuration file. By default, test harness benchmarks a backend using predefined parameters. However, if a configuration file is passed using this option, users can fully modify every aspect of the run. This includes benchmarking options, the input sizes of the workload, and even the cryptographic parameters used as supported by the backend. If the need arises, users may even completely remove specific workloads from the configuration file, change the execution order, or even run multiples of the same workload. Furthermore, users can signal test harness to generate a template configuration file pre-filled with the default parameters that the backend supports. This file can be used as a starting point for users to create their own configuration files. For a full list of options supported by test harness, users can simply use the help flag to display all possibilities. This, along with the documentation, should be used as the main source of reference for the test harness options.